Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Sock Talks with Joy and Sean. Glad you're here today on this already July is almost over with. It's just like amazing to me how fast everything is happening here.
Absolutely.
But I don't know about you, but
And I
it's
didn't know, I don't know, I didn't see any names that you wanted us to change to from sock talks because,
yeah.
we need to move on. We know gratitude talk, something. So anyway, no, I'm just going to keep harping on it.
I know
Not
you
so
are. Well,
hard
you have to work
anymore.
on it in between these conversations because I don't think about it the rest of the time.
So
It's
we should have been recording because we had a great conversation.
we really did have a great
All
pre-conversation,
right.
but
And this will be nothing like we just talked about, probably, but that's okay.
But anyways, hey,
Okay.
I was telling John last night. I went to an event last night. The speaker, Karen Lund, is her name, and she wrote a book on compassion is the competitive edge. Now, she bases her all of her training, speaking around being part of the corporate world, but bringing compassion to the corporate world. And I found it very interesting some of the comments that she was making and at some points, I tied it back to what we do, simply with the Daily Eight. But one of the things that she mentioned was about the that you have people in your work. Everybody has their strengths. Everyone has their strengths and yeah, and that type of thing. But they also have a job to do. But you have those people at work that plan everything. Like they're the Christmas party person, and they whenever it comes up again, they're the person that does that. Great. I get that in B&I, by the way. It's like, oh yeah, Joy does great visitor day. Okay, Joy, you gonna do visitor day again? And all this kind of stuff.
I
But
like to
anyway,
share my responsibilities.
yeah, yeah. So you get these people to do that. But it can reach a point, especially in a corporate setting, that all of a sudden you're overlooked for promotions because, oh, she's really busy working on this. Or she's don't and all of a sudden, you're kind of missing out, or you could be missing out on different things because you got the wrong focus. You're focusing on what you enjoy, but is that really what your job should be? You
Right.
know?
And a
Where have you
lot,
heard those words?
and like I said, it could be also like, we don't want to promote her because she does such a good job right here. I don't want to lose her.
Yeah,
People get
exactly,
stingy in
exactly.
corporate. So, for question though, I didn't ask the compassion. Is it more, is she gearing more towards I'm talking to an organization and compassion within the organization or with their
Within
clients?
within the organization. This is
Which
all employee relations
Which
related.
within, if you're culturing that, you're going to get the side effect of that's how they're going to treat their customers.
Hmm. Oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I've done videos like gratitude and kindness are not bad words in corporate America or in business nowadays more than ever. So I love that someone's coaching teams to be compassionate with their teams and who they work and it always amazes me like if that person's like, man, she's such a great organizer, and then an event happened and something was off. Why? What happened? She usually is a rock star. And if you're leading with compassion and kindness, you're probably going to go, there's something going on with Bob or Susie so let's have a conversation. What's going on? And her, not the not the, it wasn't as good as what, is everything okay? And having
Oh
that
yeah. Oh
conversation.
yeah. Yeah. It was just real interesting, she had a lot of great information. I'm anxious to read the rest of read her book and kind of move on forward with it. But it was kind of interesting because the lady sitting next to me worked for first the power company, First Energy, and talking about how everyone they've all come back to work.
Right.
They were all back over. They're starting to bring them in hundreds back into the office. And she was talking about all these people that are complaining about, and it's just like it's really ticking her off because it's
Right.
like, what did they do when they were off? They,
I
that
got my
they're
job
back in
done.
the office, now
Right.
they're complaining, kind of a thing. So you just kind of wonder with that. And she says it's very hard to work in that environment
Oh yeah.
right
Yeah.
now with people. And so, she says, even myself, I have to find myself sitting back and saying, you know what, I've got my job to do,
Right.
and they have a job too, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not
Right.
going to focus on
Shut out the,
all that
yeah.
negative
Which
and
is hard.
and
Which
bring
is
it back,
hard.
which is
Yeah.
really hard.
Which is hard.
When you work in that environment all the time. But I kind of like, when you talk about those kind of a things, I like immediately started thinking about the Daily Eight, that we have. We just don't have a boss telling us what to do. We don't have a boss
That's
grading us
you.
what to do. We don't have anybody saying, hey, you need to do this, or not even worry about whether somebody's compassionate with you or not. You are your person.
Right.
You are the person, and you determine, what kind of job you want to do today, you know.
Well, and let's take it the compassion route. Are you being compassionate with yourself when you look at your daily eight? And it should be, honestly, this should be where you see it every day
Every
or in
day.
front of your
Mhm.
laptop.
Every
And I
day.
know, and this was this first part of this conversation. We didn't have that conversation at all off camera. Um,
No.
but what you're saying about the daily eight, and we know that most people that come in as a consultant, Cody says this isn't a side hustle, but it is a side thing. I mean, you got an hour a day, or you got 5 hours a week, or 10, whatever you can commit to that. That's where you need to plug it in when you say, when I get home I'm going to have dinner, and then from 6 to 7, I'm working my business. But this should be your guiding force. It really should. And are you just ticking stuff up off here, and you think, oh, and what did you so talk about a busy day, Joy? What were when you
Well,
were
you're kind of leading into this too. Like, yeah, you and I, we don't have other jobs that we're committed to, but we have life, and everything. But I will tell you that when I have a day where it's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and I'm looking at it, yes, I'm going to all day long. I'm thinking about I need to do this, I need to do that, and you'll do a little click here and there, you'll do a little bit here and there. But all day long I'm going through that. And then all of a sudden come evening, you look and it's like, well, daggone, I didn't even send my
or the
card.
next day? Why is yesterday blank?
Yeah, why is yesterday blank? My point of that conversation is I can, if even myself can designate time and just say, you know what, from 10 o'clock in the morning till 12 in the morning, these are the kind of things I'm going to do for my business. And when then that is done, feel good about the rest of the day.
Right, right.
You'll feel, and that's the problem is all day long you're like going to do this, or you're gonna do that, or I know I want to do this, or I know I want to reach out, and all of a sudden the day is over, and you couldn't even enjoy the things that had nothing to do with work, with
You
what you
had
were
the shoulda,
doing.
coulda, wouldas day.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I just because I get myself in that. I get through stages like I go through that with my journal. It's like
Right,
my journal sit there all day long. It's like, I gotta write my journal. I gotta write my journal. So instead of like I gotta write in a journal, why don't I commit a time to write my journal?
right.
And I don't do that. And that's like crazy. But we all get into that mode
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we can get into that. You just gotta find a way to work
Yeah,
with
and I just like you said, call it what you want. Time block. I mean, that was big in the banking world. Going to make calls. This is my hour to make calls. Whatever that is, and that hour, the 2 hour, whatever you can commit to, that should be money making activities.
Yes.
That shouldn't be sending cards. That shouldn't be sending acts. That should be adding people to your list, reaching out to people to have them watch a video, have them send a card, have them send an act. Those are the things that are going to grow your business. And when
Hmm.
you have a day where that doesn't get done, you have compassion with yourself and say, okay, didn't really kill it yesterday. Don't let that bleed into 2, 3, 4 days, because then what happens? It's the end of the month and you haven't done anything with your business.
Right.
Especially, and we're talking to the people that really want to grow this and make an impact with the gratitude movement. I
Hmm.
mean, others, it's just a hobby. And like when I first started with the mortgage, I showed it when I could. I wasn't focusing I was working on my business, but I was
Right.
showing this when I could. So, but we all need to do better. We all can do better, I should say. Be better, do better. So yeah, focus on that daily aid. It really is, it's an
Yeah,
awesome
yeah,
tool.
and in the point when we started with about the compassion, have compassion for yourself, and you need to have your life, and you need to have your commitment to what you want to do with this,
Sure.
and if you can separate the two of them, you're going to feel good about both of
Yep.
them.
Yep.
I mean, that's really what it boils down to. You're gonna feel good about it instead of in the evening sitting back and being mad at yourself because you didn't do more.
Yeah. Beating
No.
yourself up doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it really it's and I can fall into that trap pretty easy.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know,
think we all can, it's
yeah,
human
yeah.
nature.
And when you work for yourself, you create your own traps too,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
but you
yeah, and there is
also,
no boss. It'll be Friday and what you can do is find an accountability partner and you have to text this to somebody on Monday
yeah,
and you're
yeah,
like, "Yes," and then
yeah,
and then have a call about it.
yeah,
Let's get on the phone for 15 minutes. What worked? What didn't work? What are you going to do this week? That's your account. You don't have a boss. You're right, but you can have an accountability partner because I don't want to send 3 days I didn't do anything. I got to do something today, and not
right.
just ticket box. I mean, really doing it, not just ticking boxes off.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
Um,
how about all of us that were on the leadership for the leadership retreat? You remember the trip, and then we had those calls every Monday at
yeah,
2 o'clock, or we had the Zooms every Monday. But by midnight on Sunday, you not only had to turn in your numbers, you had to take a picture of your sheet and turn
right.
in numbers. Now, if that didn't make you be accountable on a daily
Right.
basis,
Yeah. No. And find somebody that you can. And they don't have to
yeah,
be on it's probably better if they're not on your team.
it
You know,
is. It is.
like Joy and
Yeah,
I aren't, Tom and I
yeah,
aren't. Joy, have somebody that's not on your team that you can chat with. Just, hey, how's the business going? What worked well? What do you need? What's going on? What's good?
right,
What's not working? And
right.
walk through those things, especially if you're serious about this business, and you really need to be. It's not a $60 business as it
Yeah,
is right now. It's $1 million business.
yeah,
But you got to do some work. So,
yeah,
Ernie, anything
yeah.
else?
I don't think so.
I don't know that we talked anything about the pre-call, but that's okay. No.
No.
I'm not going to beat myself up over it.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
So
Well,
do your daily
okay.
eight. It
Do
really
your
does
daily.
work daily,
Yep. Be
daily.
compassionate with yourself.
Yes,
Give
absolutely.
yourself
Give yourself a
compassion.
break if one day is blank. So, take care.
See you, ladies. See you,
Bye
ladies
bye.
and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Absolutely.